This is an IRLP tutorial on how to edit your status page information, which lists the node information about every node in the IRLP network. When you get a new node, one of the things you have to do is update the status page entry. So for those of you who don't know the status page, it's at status.irlp.net. And originally it comes up with a reflector page, but there's a bunch of different things you can look at. You can look at lists of all the nodes, etc. So I'm just going to go back to the IRLP website. So there's a link on the left here that says to update the DB info. So you want to click on that. And it gives you the two different ways you can do it. You can either do it by logging in directly into the node, or you can do it by clicking on one of these links from this web browser. The only difference is that this web browser has to be behind the same router as the node in order for this to work. So I'm going to copy this information here. I'm going to paste it into the web browser, or the node. This is just an SSH window. I'm logged in as root into the node. First thing it's going to ask you is for a cookie. You have to accept it with the letter Y. You may or may not see this page. This gives you the option to choose between the node numbers that are currently behind that IP address. There just happens to be two on this one. It's my test platform, so it shows a node number that doesn't exist, and then this node that I want to change, 1234. Now what you want to update is the core node information, and that will give you a page like this with the node call sign, city, province, state. There's a whole bunch of information here that can be that needs to be entered. Only the fields with a star actually are required. So I'm just going to quickly enter those ones in here. So for the country, you have to hit the enter key, choose it, and hit the enter key again. I'm going to intentionally make a mistake in my email address here. I'll show you why in a second. I happen to know the approximate latitude and longitude. Notice how the north latitudes are positive, south latitudes are negative, west longitudes are negative, and east longitudes are positive. So you have to know exactly what your location is. You can find that through Google Earth. There's actually a link here that says how to find out your particular lat and long. The node, set the offset, I'll say it's 0. AVRS, you can find information about that by following this link. It's associated to APRS. I'm just going to put in I don't have to put in any information for that. I'm going to set the time zone to America, Vancouver. And then the last thing it actually is about is a web access password. So this is something that we added that allows you to modify the information on the node from a computer other than the node itself. But you need this password. So I'm just going to set it to admin1234. Now remember up top I did make a mistake in my email address, and it's going to tell me about it here. So it spat me back to the screen here, but you'll see at the very top of this screen here that it says error node owner sponsor email must contain an @ So there's a whole bunch of tests that are done on this information as it's entered in. So I'm just going to go test 1, 2, 3 here, just show you. I'm just going to set the time zone again. I'm going to put admin1234 for this password and submit it. Now, this information actually went in correctly now. You'll see it says everything has been updated. Now, if I go back to the status page here and I go 1, 2, 3, 4 and hit enter, you'll see all the information is in there. So that is how you update it using the node itself. So I'm going to just log out of the node itself for a second here. I've got to do a quick refresh of something. Then I'm going to show you the way to do it with the browser itself. Okay, so carrying on here, you'll see that I've cleared the node information and I'm sort of back to where I began. So I'm going to go back here to the update DB info page. And this time I'm going to actually click on one of these two links. So this will only work if your node is behind the same router as this browser, or you've set that admin password. So As I click this or the other link, you see I'm basically provided with the same information that I was in the previous one. So I'm going to choose node 1, 2, 3, 4, changing the core information. I'm not going to put in a city this time, just to show you. Cambodia, Canada. Minus 123.1, node frequency 145.0, no offset. I'm not going to bother putting in any of this information. I'm going to submit, and you'll see an error. So node city is required, so I have to type in what the node city is. Set the country again. Check all the information. I'm going to put in website test.com. It's test 123, for example. Time zone again. Put in a web password in this one as well. I'm just going to submit it. So as you can see, it shows successful update. Now if I go here and I refresh it, you'll see all the information's there, test.com. You can see where the public node information shows up. So that's how you update your status page information. It's very important to check for errors. If you get spat back to the screen for entry, look up at the top. There could be a list of errors there. Very important to get your latitude and longitude correct, and to put in as much correct information. One of the most important pieces of information is a correct email address here. The reason why the email address is so important is what's used to authenticate requests to make changes to your node with the installs team. That's all I have to say for this one. If you have any questions, please add to the comments below or send an email off to installs@irlp.net. Thank you.